Welcome. Welcome to the Planning Development Advisory Committee virtual meeting by electronic participation and in person at the Clifton's Community Center. For January the 10th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I'll be asking our members to confirm their presence by verbal consent. We'll start with you, Dan Kennedy. Present. Dennis O'Connor. Present. Steve Lassie. Present. Paul Sedra. Present. And I, Councilor Johnson Cruz, am present as well. So this evening, there are two meetings tonight. One being the Committee of Adjustment and the second being the Advisory Committee. There'll be no minor variances for the consideration by the Committee of Adjustment. There'll be two consents for the advisory comment to for the Advisory Committee to provide comments to the county. Please note that the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means, you are consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. Okay, we'll start with the first item, disclosure of conflict of interest. Lynn, did we receive any disclosures of conflict of interest?
No, Mr. Chair, we did not.
Does anybody else have any?
No.
No? Good. Thank you. So we'll move to straight into the approval of the minutes of December 13th, 2022. May I have a mover and a seconder? Move by Dan, second by.
I'll second it.
Deep. All in favor, just raise your hands and be fine. Thank you. All right, there is no other matters, and we'll move to adjourn the Committee of Adjustment at 7:02. And we have a mover. Paul, second by Dan. All in favor? All right, so meeting over. So let's get into the Planning and Development Advisory Committee meeting. I'd like to call that meeting to order. And again, we'll do a roll call by verbal consent. So let's go around the table. Dan Kennedy. Present. Dennis O'Connor. Present. Steve Bassi. Present. Paul Sedra. Present. And I, Councilor Johnson Cruz, I'm present as well. So as I mentioned earlier, there'll be two consents for the Advisory Committee to provide comments to the county. Again, please note that the meeting is video and audio recorded. The electronic means are uploaded to municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in meeting by electronic means, you're consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted in YouTube. So let's go into disclosures of security interest. So Lynn, do we have any disclosures of conflict of interest?
No, Mr. Chair, we do not.
Okay, does anybody else have any conflict of interest to mention?
No.
Thank you. So let's move straight into the land division. Oh, sorry, I missed an item. Approval of minutes of December 13th, 2022. I have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Dennis, second by Deep. All in favor? Thank you. All right, so let's move into the plan division. So I'll read out the first one, 8A severance application B143-22, also known as D10-G8I, Audrey Gayer, Park Lot 1, Concession 3, municipally known as 4851 Town Line Road, Township of Clifton. Proposed severance is 0.64 hectares with 37.5 meter frontage. Vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcel is 0.4 hectares with 33.7 meter frontage. Existing and proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling and garage. Before I get on to it, I just want to just mention we have our clerk, Court Northbox, our committee secretary, Vin Banks, and our planner, join us. So let's get into, Courtney, would you please present have the owner applicant join us? Jennifer, are you there?
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you at first. I didn't know if you wanted me to present the application first.
So would you please state your name and address and present the application? Courtney's got the drawing shown on the,
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Cool.
Hello. My name is Jennifer Voss, and I'm a planner representing the applicant. And my address is 187 West River Road in Cambridge.
thank you, please present your application.
Okay, this is a consent application to create a new rural residential lot in the secondary agricultural area of the township of Pushlinch. The proposed when designing or proposing the proposed lot configuration, the general criteria of the County of Wellington official plan was considered, and specifically, I think with respect to this proposed lot line, the criteria with respect to the new lot line being logical, given the location of the natural heritage feature and existing lot pattern, was considered in order to establish a new lot line that, although irregular, it was considered specifically due to the location of the adjacent wetland feature to the south of the subject property. And with respect to that wetland, there is a 30-meter buffer that is required. And if you look at the consent sketch, you will see that the careful consideration was given to the establishments of the lot lines to respect that 30-meter buffer and to allow a building area outside of that 30-meter wetland buffer. So that's why the new lot line, similar to the existing lot line to the south, is irregular in nature because of the location of that natural feature. So if you look at the south lot line, again, it's irregular in shape, and it does follow the natural feature boundary to the south. And hence the north proposed lot line is logical consideration given the location of that wetland feature. So that was the one consideration that, you know, it because of the location of the wetland is why we proposed the new northern lot line like we did. It also considers the lot creation criteria specific to the secondary agricultural area, in that the lot meets the 0.4 hectare minimum lot size and is not larger than needed to accommodate the intended residential use, considering the extent of the buffer. And it takes into account constraints such as that natural heritage feature. Again, in order to respect and to protect the wetland feature, the lot configuration is proposed to accommodate and to provide enough area in order to achieve a area that's buildable outside of that 30-meter wetland buffer. And all other criteria are met, in that the new lot no new lots have been created on the parcel since March 1st, 2005. The subject lands were acquired by the applicant on July 29th, 2005. The lot meets the 0.4 hectare minimum lot size, is not larger than needed to accommodate the residential use, and takes into the site constraints with respect to the natural heritage feature. The lot has access to an open public road and safe access is achieved. The residential use is compatible with the surrounding development and the use is well removed from the settlement boundary.
Okay, great, thank you very much. So I'll ask Lynn, were there any written comments received from any of the agencies?
I have received some comments from township staff and from a couple of agencies.
If you could, please read them.
The township's building department has asked that the owner confirm the well type, whether it's drilled or dug on the lands to be retained. They've also asked to confirm soil permeability in the area of the future septic bed to ensure it can be serviced by septic within the envelope proposed. The fire department advised that they have no concerns regarding this application. Public Works has advised that it is not under the township's jurisdiction and the entrance permit will be required from the city of Cambridge, as will safe entrance. Source Water is advised that since the property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat, the application can be screened out and does not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. Finally, the GRCA has stated that they have no objection to the proposed consent application. They also stated that information currently available at the office suggests that the lands to be severed include a portion of the Kislunch Lake Irish Creek provincially significant wetland complex, the regulated floodplain of Irish Creek, as well as the lands adjacent to those features. And any development in the severed or the retained lands within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA in the form of a permit pursuant to Ontario Reg 150/06. From their review, they believe that the proposed severance would not impact on the natural hazards and would not provide opportunity for additional build development in or adjacent to the hazards. And as such, they have no objection to the proposal.
Great, thank you. So, comment for the, any attendees watching, if you would like to give comments or questions regarding the application. The comments can be heard at the Land Division Committee meeting, which is, I believe, scheduled for, February the 9th. Okay, so let's turn over the committee, see if they have any questions of, the applicant or of the county plan. So we'll start with you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks. A couple of questions. I was wondering about the hydro lines. I don't know what voltage they were, but I didn't hear anything about hydro comments. I was just wondering what their thoughts were with the positioning between the proposed housing to those hydro lines.
Jennifer?
I am not aware of any issues with respect to the hydro lines.
I just didn't know whether they should be consulted or not on this.
So we can add that as a comment that we have is.
The other thing I was wondering was the 30-meter wetland buffer. Does that mean that there's historically been flooding up to that point, or is that just something that
It's
comes up?
So the wetland is considered a provincially significant wetland, which means that there is typically a 30-meter buffer. It's not respect to flooding, it's respect to protecting the wetland feature.
And then the last question I had, and it's maybe not even so much of a question, but I was wondering with this lot's proximity to Cambridge. I mean, it's kind of obvious that sooner or later Cambridge is gonna gobble this up. Should they not be consulted on this one, maybe?
I'll turn that question over to our county planner.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair, the city of Cambridge would be circulated by the county office in terms of any comments that they may have. So for instance, with the road access being maintained by them, as an example, they may have comments related to that or conditions specifically related to it. So the city of Cambridge has the opportunity essentially to provide any comments or proposed conditions.
Good, thank you.
Okay, turn it over to you, Dennis.
Just following up to Dan's question on that hydro line, is there an easement for that line right now on the present lot?
Interestingly enough, there's no easements.
Okay. And we know who owns the hydro line?
I don't know who owns the hydro line. Perhaps the planner can provide some clarity on that.
So it's for you, Mr. Chair. Generally, my understanding is it would be Hydro One. I can confirm with our staff too, who was circulated on the application, and generally they would provide comments if they had any concerns about impacts with the hydro line specifically.
Okay, we'll have to make some sort of comment. I think, to the hydro line.
Sure.
Other than that, I'm good.
Okay. Do you-
No, I think we covered it. I had a question regarding hydro line and 30-meter buffer. We both covered it.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is we want confirmation that the hydro, that the from the whoever owns the hydro lines that they do not have any concerns with the severed property with respect to whatever the voltage is for the hydro lines or even the easement that's supposedly not there. Well, they may be requiring an easement, I'm not sure, but we'll ask that question. So then if you can put that in as a condition.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else, Ben? You had the hydro lines and the other problems you have? No, okay. Oh, sorry, I missed you. I'm
I
sorry.
do have just, I guess, a question maybe for Joanna, just around the shape of this, like, yeah, I find it a bit, I get that they're, we're trying to, it's within our criteria because it's within the 0.48 hectares and they're trying to avoid the wetland, but what are your thoughts? Like, is there a standard protocol to kind of keep our shapes a little standard across the township? Because I actually haven't really seen anything like this since I've been on.
Yeah, so for you, Mr. Chair, the county official plan does have requirements to have logical lot lines. So whenever we review severances, there's certain criteria that we look at for any severance, and that criteria is one of them. In this particular case, the county will be recommending regularizing the lot line, so creating a lot line that results in a straighter lot line versus the more irregular shape that you see that's proposed within the drawing submitted.
So the county will be recommended, so maybe we could add that on our
Yeah,
side.
we actually have that written out here that staff have put forward, so I was gonna ask the staff, read all these conditions
Okay.
out for
That was my-
us to understand that before we move submitting the conditions. Anything else?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay, so Lynn, can you go through the conditions for us, so we're all understand what they are?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. The first condition is the township standard condition that the owner satisfy all the requirements of the township, financial and otherwise, including taxes paid in full and payment of the township's consent review and clearance fee. The second one is if the County of Wellington Land Division Committee requires the lot line between the severed and retained lines to be regularized, the owner will need to obtain zoning compliance for the reduced lot area of the retained parcel. The next one is if the County of Wellington Land Division Committee requires the lot line between the severed and retained lines to be regularized, the owner will be required to provide a hydrogeological study at the owner's expense to the township of Coastline for the purpose of a peer review by the township's hydrogeologist. The next condition will be that in reference to the hydrogeological study, if it's required, the owner shall be required to enter into an agreement with the township for the purpose of having the hydrogeological study peer reviewed to the satisfaction of the township. And the owner shall be responsible for any township costs associated with the review of the hydrogeological study. The next condition is that the owner shall obtain zoning compliance for the garage located on the retained parcel to ensure that it meets the maximum permitted lot coverage for accessory buildings to the satisfaction of the township. The next condition will be that the owner obtains zoning compliance for the shipping containers located on the retained lands to the satisfaction of the township. Condition number 7 will be that the owner confirm that the well type drilled / dug on the lands to be retained to the satisfaction of the township. And the next condition is that the owner confirm that Hydro One or the owner who owns the overhead hydro lines has no concerns with the overhead lines. And or if there is an existing easement to the satisfaction of the township. And the final condition will be that the owner confirm the soil permeability in the area of the future septic bed to ensure it can be serviced by septic within the envelope proposed to the satisfaction of the township.
Okay, there's one other point that came to mind, Jennifer, is, are there any, storage bins on the property? Shipping container?
I'm not aware of it, but I believe that the applicant did say there are storage bins, and I think she is attending tonight's meeting. She would be better to respond to that question.
Linda, have we had any correspondence from them in that regard?
The owner has confirmed in an email we received at 5:14 today that there are 2 sea cans at the back of the garage that are separate from the garage and stand alone. She also noted that none of the structures at the south side of the building are attached or fixed permanently to the ground or the other structure.
Okay, so, do we know if they're compliant? In other words, the number of containers are compliant with the size of property?
We haven't had a chance to run the zoning on that to see if they're compliant. I don't know if Ms. Salzberg would be able to answer that question.
So through you, Mr. Chair, we don't know the size of the containers at this point, so we'd be looking for the applicant to confirm that information, and the proposed condition as when worded includes zoning compliance for shipping containers. So it gives the township an opportunity to ensure that zoning compliance is achieved for those structures.
Okay, so what I'm reading is that the owner obtains zoning compliance for the garage located on the retained parcel. It doesn't specifically say the containers.
Mr. Chair, I did update that late this afternoon.
Oh, I see, okay.
I do have that as a condition that the owner obtains zoning compliance with shipping containers located on the retained lands to satisfaction. of the
Okay,
township.
okay, I missed that. Okay, all right, so I have a mover and a seconder to submit the comments as read out by Lynn. Moved by Dan, second by Paul, all in favor? Great, thank you very much. So let's move on to the next one, 8B, severance application B 146-22, also known as DCAN, SKAN, Paul G. Carver and Martin Khan, Part Lot 9, Concession 1, municipally known as 6705, Concession 2, Township of Puslinch. Proposed severance is 70-meter frontage by 127 meters for 0.9 hectares, vacant land for rural residential use. Retained parcel is 39.5 hectares with 175-meter frontage. Existing proposed agricultural use with existing dwelling, garage unsaid, drive shed and barn to be removed. Okay, then can we ask the applicant to come forward and we can put on the drawing on the board as well at the same time?
Hello, Jeff Buseman here.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. So this application,
Can you just state for the record the name and address and then go ahead and present your application?
Jeff Buseman, 19 Oriel Crescent, Guelph.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. This is for a new lot to be created in a secondary ag area. And you can see that the proposed severance is on the front to the right side as you face it from the piece of paper. It'd be the front left as you face it from the road. The severance is intended to be as deep as the one to the east at 127 meters and be 70 meters wide. There's a barn on the existing parcel. It's in rough shape and it will be removed. Otherwise, it meets all the criteria for a secondary ag, for severance in the secondary ag. And it looks like a pretty straightforward severance, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns or comments that the members may have.
Hey, Lynn, were there any written comments received? So would you please read them?
Certainly, Mr. Chair, Public Works, Township's Public Works Department said they have no concerns. As does the fire department, they have no concerns with this application. The township's building department stated that they have no comments or concerns from a building code perspective. And Source Water has advised that since the property is located in a vulnerable area, that the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat. The application can be screened out and does not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act.
Okay, so again, I'll reiterate that if there's any attendees watching the hearing, would like to give comments or have questions regarding the application. Please be advised that your comments can be heard at the Land Division Committee, scheduled for February the 9th. Okay, so let's turn over to the committee members. Have any questions of the applicant or the county planner? We'll start with you, Dan.
No, no concerns.
Okay, Dennis,
I have no concerns as well.
Steve,
No comments.
and Paul.
No, that's right. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any as well. So, Lynn, would you please read out the conditions that have been put together?
So the township's draft conditions are that the owner satisfy the requirements of the township post lunch, financial and otherwise, including taxes paid in full. And payment of the township's consent review and condition clearance fee. The second is that safe access to the proposed severed lines can be accommodated to the satisfaction of the township. And third, that the barn and drive shed located on the retained parcel be removed to the satisfaction of the township.
Okay, and have a mover and seconder. Dennis moves, second Deep, all in favor? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to the next item. Other matters is none. There's no closed meeting. The next meeting is Tuesday, February 14th at 7 p.m. And I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 7:27 p.m. So may I have a mover and seconder. Paul, second by Dan, all in favor. Great, thank you very much.